Hey folks!
Hej allihopa!
Welcome to another video.
In today's video we are doing a bookshelf tour.
A bookshelf tour.
You'll see how I organize my books.
And how I organize my books.
Yes, very interesting. We have very different
styles.
Very different styles, I would say. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and here we go!
This is one of my bookshelves. I'm gonna show you, I think you've already seen me arrange the books here, but I'll show you a little bit more in depth what I have here, and also my two other small bookshelves which are in another part of my room. You'll get to see some of the books that I'm interested in, some of the books that I just have that I haven't gotten to yet. Most of them I haven't gotten to yet, but it is what it is. These are my main bookshelves. We've kind of got poetry up here, and then non-fiction here, and then a mix of other things at the bottom. The way that I've done my poetry is books that I've read and ones that I haven't read on this side. And then I've ordered them in chronological order of when they were published, with some exceptions. So I also have a copy of The Complete Works of Oscar Wilde that my mother owned before me. Old and well used. But when I had pneumonia at the age of 15, I read most of it. I've got a bunch of really nice chapbooks that all seem to... I kind of went through a phase where I bought chapbooks. So there were a bunch here that I really liked. I actually know the person who wrote this. When I was at university, he was one of the people who came to poetry group, and he was one of the professors at my university, and so when he told us that he had put a book out, I got it. Something that I read recently that I really liked is This Wound is a World by Billy Ray Belcourt, and then all of the other ones that I haven't read yet. I'm excited to read them. They're just, most of them are very big. We have queer theory and just queer stuff in general. I really love this book, which I got from the exhibition, and just has all of the collection, everything that was in the exhibition and explanations and things. I really like it. And then we've kind of got like gender theory, and then some stuff about history over here. I haven't read any of these. I'm ashamed, but that's what life is like. I got this one recently. My dad told me to read it, and so I got it, but I haven't read it yet. And then down here, we have got books about art, and then some more esoteric religion things, literary criticism, and then some memoirs and books about people. And then over here we have some history. I really like Octavia Butler, though I haven't read this book. I've read her Seed to Harvest series, which is excellent, and I would recommend it to anyone who's interested in feminist science fiction. And in this bookshelf, I've got some choral music, and then my craft books, and then finally just a kind of miscellaneous collection of textbooks, and then books about art history that I like, and a few books about, well, they're all art history actually. Gay Hollywood Film and Video Guide, and then Impounded, which is a book about the Japanese internment camps in the US, photographed by a white woman, Dorothea Lange, but really quite moving. And I got to see some of them at an exhibition at the Barbican. So I got the book because it was so interesting. I haven't read it yet. We have just a whole bunch of books about things that I'm interested in but haven't gotten around to yet. So, saints and dead people, secret tunnels, Christianity, more saints, and Christianity again. The Archaeology of Islam, which is an excellent book for anyone who is interested, by Timothy Insole. Would definitely recommend. I have read this book. Most of these other books I haven't read, but this one I have read. I was so interested when I first saw it in the library that I had to get my own copy. So that tells you just how much I really liked it. And then I have these Barbarian Invasions of the Roman Empire. My undergraduate thesis was on some of the Germanic tribes. I found these at a charity shop, and they're two of a large series. A book about all sorts of different symbols and symbology. It's really cool. It has really beautiful illustrations in it. And they're all organized by the creation and the cosmos, plant world, spirit world. So you can see, and it talks about the kinds of things that people associate with all of the symbols. And lots of art from all over the world, and just very, very cool. This is one of my favorite painters, Odilon Redon. This is a very famous painting by him. He did a lot of really cool other stuff. And in the bottom is more textbooks, manuals, things about religion, the Middle Ages, just things that I'm interested in. If you want to read social anthropology, this is a very good book. Literally just called Stuff. It just talks about the social anthropology of objects and how we interpret them and use them in everyday life. This is about autism, and I would recommend it to anyone who doesn't know that much about autism but is interested in learning about how the science works and what we know and what we can do better. So this is my last bookshelf, just all small books because these cubbies are quite small. I've again organized them with poetry at the top and down here, and then nonfiction and fiction at the bottom. So I can run you through. Again, I've done ones that I have read up to here, and then ones that I haven't read over here. There are many more of them that I haven't read. And I also have just a few books in French. I don't read that much French stuff anymore. I used to read a lot more, obviously, when I lived in France. I've got some really nice editions. I got this book at a it wasn't a charity shop, it was a secondhand bookstore, and it is so old. So old that I think it's from the 40s. But the printing is all mismatched. All of the pages are incorrectly cut, and there's not even a publication page, the page with all of the copyright information on it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I got these, I believe I got them kind of around the same time. The Penguin Book of Irish Verse and the Penguin Book of Socialist Verse. I really like these Penguin collections of poetry. I also have 2 versions of the Penguin Book of Love Poetry, and I've read the earlier one, but not the new edition. So I'm excited to get to these as well. There's just so many poets in it that I have never heard of before, and so I get to discover a lot of new ones, and it's kind of a jumping off point for me for then being able to find more poems and poetry that I like, so then I can branch out to getting big collections like this, like Philip Larkin and James Haney, which I both like quite a lot. Some more history here, and then some other books that are interesting that I haven't gotten to yet that I would like to. And then on this bottom shelf, which is kind of my everything else shelf, we've got some fiction that I haven't read. I also know the author of this book. She was my landlady a few years ago. She wrote this while I was living with her, and it was published while I was living with her, so I got to go to the big publication party and stuff. And it's about a person who has a stroke. She's a nurse, so she wrote it about people who have had a stroke, and yes is the only word that the main character can say. Would recommend if you're interested, because it's a very accurate description of how stroke patients might recover after a stroke. Then I've got some books that I have actually read. Surprise, surprise. Over here, Maggie Stiefvater, a lot of Thomas Hardy. I really like him. I know that a lot of people don't, but I like him. These ones I have all read. I really recommend The Woodlanders. If you have never heard of it, it's kind of sad. I mean, no, it's not kind of sad. It's quite sad, very sad. But I really liked it, and also Far from the Madding Crowd, which is my favorite book of all time. Here. In my final little cubby, I've just got a few kind of leftover books, some books in French. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks would definitely recommend to anyone who is interested in learning about medical malpractice. It's also horrifying, but you know, it is what it is. Some books about art, more art, queer art, that's it.
So this is my bookshelves. I have obviously a smaller one and a larger one. So they are set up in the way that this side contains all of my unread books. Yes, it's a lot. It's daunting. Mainly unread fiction at the top, like here. And then the bottom two are mainly reference art books, other kind of things that isn't fiction really. And then on this side, I have all my read books, and it's organized by size. I can really color code it, so I decided to go with size for now, and then we shall see. The idea is that eventually I will be able to merge more read books into this once I read more of this. So this is the top of my bookshelf. Let's get close. So these are obviously not in the rest of the collection. And so they're just like new releases that I got that I haven't been able to fit in the rest of the shelf. And then these book holders my mom actually gave me. They were broken when I got them out of the bag, but I just glued the heads back because I love peacocks. So I have two. These I'm actually going to show in my haul. But this is the tarot cards by Dali. They kind of just look like this. They're a bit upside down because I used to do daily readings of the cards. So yeah, they're really beautiful. The whole collection is really nice. So this is like the start of the color rainbow. So I started with white because I thought that would be nice, and then the end is kind of black. So we got all of the books here. So I got, these are all like Swedish paperbacks, and they are like the smaller, they come like this, which is obviously harder to read. And then I have like obviously a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, and this Neil Gaiman, which is misprinted, which I then again got for free. And it is signed to me.
Oh, isn't that pretty?
Yes. He was at my old job signing stuff, and I asked if he could sign a book for me, and he did, very politely. And then I have this beautiful edition of Brideshead Revisited, which I found in a secondhand bookshop. So I kept that. Thank you. And then also I actually want to show off my Kafka, which is, I mean, the cover isn't like beautiful cover that I've seen, but I kind of like it. It speaks to me for some reason. And I like the kind of old style. You can tell that it's a bit older. And then I actually want to show off this Madeline Miller. So obviously a beautiful front cover, but then underneath it is absolutely gorgeous, which obviously I like. And then you have the map in here. I haven't read this yet, but I'm gonna get there eventually, I'm sure. And let's just quickly talk about my pop vinyls. So up here I decided to put Pennywise and Georgie and the Doctor Strange because I thought that they kind of matched a little bit the color theme on this shelf. So here we got a lot of the same. Got my Luna Lovegood glasses that I wore for Halloween once.
Spectre specs.
Yes, Spectre specs. I think, is this signed? I don't think it is, but let's have a look. I don't really remember all the books that I have that are signed. Yes, it's signed to me by the creators of Welcome to Night Vale. Which is pretty cool. I haven't read that yet, obviously. And then here I got some more Swedish books. So this is part of a series that I really want to read. These are kind of interesting as well. So this is like a Sherlock Holmes Cthulhu mashup. I really like the covers. That's one of the reasons why I actually got it, because I really like this for some reason. It's just really nice to look at. So there's 3 books in this series. The other one is over here. I think that might be the first one. That's behind Professor Lupin. Yeah, and same here. They kind of go in color-coded my pop vinyls and whatever else is on this shelf. So here's the blue. Let's just show everything off. My little guys. This one I got quite recently from eBay. So this is like a special edition Thor, which is the one I actually wanted for a long time, and then I just decided to splurge a little bit. I can show this off. I kind of like this. So this contains like the 3 books. I got this from a former housemate that was just getting rid of a lot of his books, so I decided to keep this. And these are like the 3 ones that I actually do want to read by Stephen King, so I decided like, why not? And then we go down here, which is kind of the end of the rainbow. So this is a kind of fake book that came in a fairy loot, I think. And then here again, the Swedish books. So this is the Silmarillion, but in Swedish. I actually think this has been translated into English. Let me show this. This is kind of nice. So this is the Illumi Crate dust jackets for the Darker Shade of Magic books. So this is done by Rosie Thorns. Yeah, and then we got John and Sherlock over here. They were my first pop vinyls that I got moving to this country. This is my most prized book in all of these. So this is the like selected and introduced by Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat, who obviously created the TV show. And if we flip up, I have it signed by Stephen Moffat, Sue Virtue, Andrew Scott, and Martin Freeman. So it's pretty cool. I'm missing Mark Gatiss and Benedict Cumberbatch, and then the book will be complete. And then I have this kind of interesting edition of Oscar Wilde's complete works, which I got at a secondhand bookshop. And then if we move down further, so here is where my other books are. It's mostly like reference books and like everything else that isn't fiction, basically, that I have decided to kind of move down here. So first we have like all of my screenwriting books that I asked my parents to send over to me. And then I have the Second Sex, is that what this is called in English, by Simone de Beauvoir. I haven't read it. It's a thick book. I have read some of it when I studied gender studies. So this is kind of like a miscellaneous of like Swedish books and English books. I got some Naomi Klein, and this is really nice. So this is a Swedish author that's made a collection of books about the north of Sweden, which is where I'm from, and it's kind of like about what is that identity and so on. So it's kind of interesting. I really want to read it. And then I have this interesting book. It's in Swedish as well, by Nina Björk, Drömmen om det röda, which is about Rosa Luxemburg and her life. This is a quite interesting book about how to write fiction and how to create like fantasy and sci-fi. It seems really interesting, so I just got it. I have only flicked it through a little bit, but I thought it could be interesting to have a different perspective on how to actually start writing. And now for the last shelf, we have this, which will be at a really strange angle because
it's next to the bed.
It's next to the bed, literally, if I flip you over. So yeah, this is mostly art books. of a different variety. So this is my Harry Potter books, so rip J.K. Rowling. We have the illustrated editions, which are really beautiful. I really like the illustrator, he's really nice. I met him a couple of times. We got the Kong Skull Island art book, and this is a movie that I love a lot because it's just freaking ridiculous and has a giant monster in it, and like, oh, it's just great. And then we got the Mad Max Fury Road art book, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Look how beautiful that is. Oh yes. 2 Marvel art books. We got Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, and Avengers Infinity War, which is probably my favorite favorite films in this series, in the universe. And then we got this Chris Foss, and his art is really nice as well. This is really cool art that he has made, at least in my opinion. I've only flicked this through, but it's just like, oh, it's such nice art. You know? It's just nice art. And then we got this 2001 file. This is basically like a lot of illustration on how they like made like a lot of the designs for 2001 A Space Odyssey. And then we got this. Sorry, I'm just showing off all my art books. So this is Hitchcock and Truffaut in conversation. Yeah, so I think he was a big fan of Hitchcock, and so he interviewed him about like his filmmaking and his movies and stuff. So I thought this could be really interesting to read through. We got some Mad Max art. Oh, I need to show this. So obviously everyone knows Alice in Wonderland, or Alice i Underlandet. So this is illustrated by the person who made the Moomin trolls, which is really cool. So she illustrated this, which is really cool, and it's just like really nice illustrations. So you can find some big ones like here. There's also apparently an edition of The Hobbit that she illustrated. Yeah, so Tove Jansson illustrating Alice in Wonderland. And then we got a Twin Peaks book. And I love Twin Peaks, it's one of my favorites. And then we got 2 editions of Good Omens. And this is the standard edition, and this is like the special edition, so it comes with like 2 extra scenes at the end. And this is so beautiful. It's so pretty. I think it's signed, but it's not signed to me. No. Oh yes, it is signed. So it's just like a script book, which is always interesting to me to read scripts anyway. As a script writer, yeah. And I really like Good Omens anyway, so I thought to get the script book would be nice, and then I decided to also get the special edition. Okay, and that concludes this part. So this is my other bookshelf. So at the top shelf, we got Barb from Stranger Things, and she's my favorite. Barb deserves better. And we got my 2 special edition Six of Crows. And then we got Kings of Scars. So this is the Diviners. This is like obviously a pretty old or like well-used, well-read library edition of this, but I decided to get it anyway. It's really nice. I love this edition of the Diviners, and it has a really nice cover underneath as well. And we got the book of the month, Red Wine Road Blue. This is one of my favorite books of all time. So very nicely got someone from the US to send this to me, because you can't get it in the UK. And then we got Starless Sea, and this is a really nice edition as well. Next shelf we have, and none of these books are in order either. You thought that was messy? This is messy, just like size order here. I got this edition of the Diviners. Obviously it's the same book, but just this cover, which I like. I hate the UK covers. And then one of my favorite books of this year is The Binding by Bridget Collins. I tabbed a lot. But this is also one of my favorite like covers as well. So obviously the front is really beautiful. It has like the golden, and then the spine is really nice. But then, oh, beautiful. And it's also printed on the back, which is quite rare for when they do the golden stuff. It has a beautiful inside here as well. And then I think this is signed to me. Yes, it is. To Tess. It's me. So yeah, this is just like all in all a really beautiful edition. To anyone who's thinking about reading this, do it. It's really good. Also get the book because it's beautiful. Moving down. We got the rest of the They Have Bought books here. We got Cemetery Boys. And then we got, so behind here is all the Gentleman's Guides, except for the back one, which is the Bird and the Blades, which is actually really good. It's based on the opera, what's it called?
Turndale.
Yes, exactly. Really good book. And then I got this special edition of Gentleman's Guide as well. And then here, these are where I keep all my bookmarks. I just use everything as a bookmark, you know, you don't have to be fancy. And then this, so this is obviously a Darker Shade of Magic with the special edition covers. And then this is the book that came with it. So it's like a red instead of black, and it has like some sprayed edges which are silver. This Night Circus edition, which is the Waterstones special edition, so it has blue sprayed edges, and this is blue instead of black. Oh, this edition of Six of Crows is signed to me. No Mourners, No Funerals, Lee Bardugo. And then this is the other two Diviners books, but they don't match any of the other ones because it's a UK editions. What a mess. And then I got Furiosa. So moving down here, we got, so these are mostly my graphic novels that I read and want to keep. And I got a little cat, Pusheen cat with Sherlock, because obviously I love Sherlock. And this beautiful edition of Sherlock Holmes, I love it. I got it as a birthday present at my old job. It's just so beautiful. And then I have another Good Omens. And I really like the cover. And then we got this, the 21st Century Screenplay by Linda Aronson, and well tabbed here as well. I really recommend this if you are someone who wants to start writing screenplays. It has a really good way of breaking down how to write and how to like structure your story and how to think about things. And then we got Heartstopper, and these are signed, I think. Yeah, and then I got this, which is kind of fun. So this is called Home Party med Gudrun. So it's Home Party with Gudrun. And Gudrun Schyman is a politician in Sweden who started the feminist initiative. They made like a graphic novel with her, and she kind of explains like what feminism is. And then here we got another graphic novel that can fit on the shelf. And this is also in Swedish, and this is really hilarious. It's kind of poking fun about like politics and different things. And I think one of the comics is about Ayn Rand and how like stupid Atlas Shrugged is. Some other novels. We got my second Thor, and these are just some other novels that I've read. Sarah J Maas, I think 2 of them are signed. And then Atonement, which is my favorite movie of all time, but I really like the book as well. It's really good. And then It. So this is next to my bed, obviously. So this is like where I keep kind of books that I want to read in the near future. That doesn't mean that they will be read immediately. It just means that these are the books that I'm thinking about and want to read as soon as I can. So currently reading Adley Rue. So I just have my little reading thing here. So I'm actually also reading this, but as an audiobook. So I kind of like, if I have the book, I like to be able to kind of mark where I am. It's mainly for like Goodreads. So then we have A Gathering of Shadows, which is the next book in A Darker Shade of Magic. And then we got another V. Schwab, which is Vengeful. Some other books. Blood and Honey, which I really want to read. And then here we got The Goldfish by Donna Tartt, which I am looking forward to. It's really long, so I'm kind of putting it off, but I really like The Secret History. And then The Book Thieves, which I really want to read as well. I kind of tempted to kind of get the audiobook like through my library and then like read it like with the book. Little Women, Liza Lachlan Mora, which I really want to read because it's a heist book, and I love heists. Heists are the best. And then finally War and Peace, which is obviously daunting because it's very long and so many characters. And we got a little cow, which Orland made, watching over me while I sleep. Alright, that was the video. I hope you got inspired by the way that we organize our books, or got some tips for books to read, I hope you will subscribe, leave a comment down below,
Like
like,
all the things.
all the things, please. You can also follow us on different social media.
Yes.
Everything is linked down below. Yeah, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Hej då!
Bye!
Hi, and welcome to my cooking show.